Hey guys, it's Mia here and welcome back once again to another bookish video. Now, I know I talked in my TBR that I had House of Hades to read, and that was like 2 weeks ago. I told y'all, I'm a slow reader. So, I finally got done with House of Hades, and whoo boy do I have some thoughts. I actually took notes because I had so many thoughts. And so I'm just going to look off these for my bullet points that I took. Oh, I just put them upside down. There we go, okay. So, my first initial thought of this book was I honestly almost did not finish it. It almost became one of my did not finish books. But the thing that saved it was Percy and Annabeth's storyline, because they're literally stuck in hell, or Tartarus as they call it in the book, because it's less kid-friendly to say hell, I guess, even though that's the name of a place. But this genuinely felt like it was written by two different people. Rick wrote Annabeth and Percy's side of things, and somebody else wrote everybody else's side, especially Hazel's. Oh my goodness, Hazel's freaking storyline bugged me, because there was this weasel that was supposed to be Hazel's like guardian to keep an eye on the progress, because some goddess wanted her to learn how to control the mist. And so she sent a witch turned weasel to keep an eye on Hazel. And there are so many fart jokes every time the weasel is even in a scene for a second. And I'm like, there are more fart jokes in this than there were in this entire series combined so far. And I'm like, they're not funny, they're way over repetitive, they're way overdone, and they're just pointless. I was sitting there rolling my eyes every time the weasel came up on screen, because I'm like, oh, here we go, another fart joke. Stop it. Anyway, so that was my first point. And then, Coach Hodge. Hodge. I've said in the other books that he does not need to be there whatsoever. But in this book, he does literally nothing of value. Even the characters are starting to comment on how annoying and how unhelpful he is actually being to them. That's not just me saying that. The characters literally flat outright tell him, yo, you're not helping. You're just making things 10 times more difficult than they have to be. So Hodge, cut him out of the story. And there are also so many conveniences, especially to Annabeth and Percy, who are stuck in hell, which is supposed to be one of the hardest places ever to get through. Yeah, they have their difficulties, and it's literally like draining their life, but they have fire water that keeps them alive, apparently for more torture. But then, not only do they run into a helpful giant that is willing to help them when giants have been the enemies through this entire book, but they also run into a titan that is willing to help them. Because yeah, he's the titan of peace, but he's willing to help them. So there's two conveniences there, which manage to help them survive hell. And then, on top of that, there are monsters going to the doors of death, so they're just like, oh, we'll follow these monsters right to the doors of death. Just keep drinking the fire water, we'll be all good. It's hell! Make it a little harder! Plus, on top of that, in this book, Percy could not even control corrupted water that by nymphs. In this book, he almost drowned to death, even though he could breathe underwater, because it was corrupted and the nymphs were also controlling it. But yet he can control the waters of hell perfectly fine. Like, you would think the waters of hell would be the most corrupt water ever. So how can he control it so easily without issues? Plot hole, continuity error, I don't know. But those are the conveniences that really drew me out of that. But the thing that saved me from DNFing it, even though I literally just complained about it, was Percy and Annabeth being stuck in hell. Because you don't know if they're going to make it out. You really don't. And it does get better like halfway through the book, but 200 pages in, I was so considering DNFing it because everybody else's besides Percy and Annabeth, blah, 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 blah. Everyone else except for Percy and Annabeth, they either were just sitting around talking, or the action was so slow you didn't feel like anybody was in danger, or they had some stupid plot convenience happen where they're like in danger 1 second and then whoop, perfectly fine the next. Like, I really did not like everybody else's story, especially Hazel's, because that stupid farting weasel. Fart jokes are not funny. They are the laziest humor to ever put in anything, especially a series that doesn't normally have them. We need to get rid of the fart jokes, get rid of Coach Hodge, because even the characters are saying he's a hindrance. Get rid of the, like, slow, easy tension, because there's none there, because you don't feel like they're in danger for a minute, and except halfway through the book where it feels like Rick took back over the story. I don't know what happened in the first half, but it felt like the second half, Rick did get control over his story again. Hazel's storyline was not brought back up, and even when it was, there were 3 chapters more of Hazel, and the farting weasel was only mentioned to fart like once, so that was good. And that saved it for me, because I was like, no, I want to find out if Percy and Annabeth are actually going to make it out and how they make it out. So I'm going to push through and keep reading. But now that I'm finished, I'm like, well, that just made all the other battles in all the other books utterly pointless. Because what happened was, and another reason that the monsters were escaping, were because the doors of death were literally chained down by Giza's giants and her titans. So the doors of death, they're supposed to apparently, once somebody uses them and goes back up to our world, then the doors of death will shift so no one else can find them again. But Giza had her minions chain them down in hell and in the mortal world so that it could not switch places. So all the giants that were fought in these first 3 books, there was literally no point to fighting them because they're all back. Like, why did we waste so long on these battles of the giants if they were just going to come right back? And that kind of upset me because I'm like, they did all that work to kill those giants. They had gods on their side trying to help them kill them. They nearly died multiple times because of these giants, and it felt so good when they finally took them out. And all that was taken away in 1 paragraph when they said all the giants are now back in the mortal world. I felt like the characters were utterly cheated. Utterly cheated. And us as an audience, us as the readers were cheated because we celebrated in their victories. We were scared for their failures. And after all that roller coaster and all that time, it was all wasted. Except for the Parthenon being back and the team being together. Everything else was a waste because the giants are back anyway. But was this an enjoyable read? Yeah, it was an enjoyable read. A little bit of a heartbreaking read because it felt like their journey was for nothing. But it was a good read. I mean, as long as you can struggle through, it got good around page 220 for me. So as long as you can get past page 220, then you're all good. The rest of the book gets really good. It's just a very bitter ending because you feel like their time was wasted. So, I enjoyed this book. I don't want to sound like I didn't because I did enjoy it or I wouldn't have finished it. I did enjoy it. But, yeah. this is a good one. I mean, it's probably about a 2-ish for me just because I did struggle through those first 220 pages. But hey, maybe you like fart jokes. Maybe you like slow talking war missions instead of constant action and actual fighting. But the ending, it's kind of like, it strikes you. It's like, ow, all that work wasted. But other than that, I enjoyed it. So what are your opinions on this book? Let me know in the comments below, and please put your opinion in. As always, hope to see you next time, and I hope you guys enjoy your reading. Bye, guys!